Okay, so everyone got a chance to work on these word problems right here. I want to take these questions up now after you guys got a chance to write it. I might be going a little fast because I want to get through all the solutions. So if necessary, just feel free to pause the video to when you rewatch it or rewind if you need to. So as I said on the blackboard, y equals mx plus b. The m represents the each or the per or every in the word problem. And the b represents the flat rate, the initial cost, the startup fee. Those keywords will tell you that that value is b. So in this first example here, the delivery service charge a base fee of $5, base fee of 5, that tells you that's your B, 250 for each, so that's your M. Okay, and so when we write the equation, we will replace the M and the B, and we get y equals 2.5x plus 5. Now, if I have $25, I would replace the y with 25 because and then now this question is just like what we've been doing for the whole last week, solving a general standard equation. Move that 5 over by subtracting, so you get 20 minus 5 equals 2.5x. 25 minus 5 is just 20. And then now, remember you want to get x by itself. So when you move that 2.5 over, this is 2.5 times x. So the opposite would be by dividing. So 20 divided by 2.5, you get x equals 8. Now at the end, I don't need a therefore statement, but I do require units so that it shows me you understand the word problem, the question. So here, just read the last part of the sentence again in the question. Determine how many packages were delivered. So therefore, your unit is 8 packages. Okay. Question 2, same idea. 40 signed up, and then each week 2 more boys. Okay, so each week 2 more. So that means this is your M, that's your B. So there's your equation. Okay, 100 boys signed up, so that would be your Y. So replacing the Y with 100, moving the 40 over means that you subtract that 40. And then 100 minus 40 is 60. 60 divided by 2, you get 30. Now, again, reading the last sentence again, how long will it take? So you know you're looking for a time unit, and then look back in the whole question, each week. So then you know that your answer is 30 weeks. Okay. This one is a little tricky. Okay. The sum of Maria's age and twice her sister's age is 36. So Maria's age, let's say it's X. Her sister's age, we don't know. We'll say it's Y. So X plus twice her sister's age, so 2Y is 36, so equal 36. Now, if you know that her sister is 8 years old, then how old is Maria? So we're going to replace the Y, which is her sister's age, with the 8. 2 times 8 is 16. So when you move that over, you get 20. So Maria is 20 years old. Okay. Taxi service. We did a couple of these questions earlier in the lesson, in the chapter. So fixed fee of 8, $1.75 for each mile. So that's your M, that's your B. Put it in y equals mx plus b form. And then if I have $25, how far can I go? So sub in the 25, move that 8 over by subtracting, you get 17 equals 1.75x. Divide that and you get 9.7. Read the last few words of the question. Determine the number of miles traveled. So 9.7 miles is your unit. Okay. On to the back. Okay, twice a number added to 4 is 36. What is the number? Twice the number, so 2x, added to 4, so plus 4, is 36, so equals 36. Move that 4 over to the other side, so you get 36 minus 4, which is 32. and then divide by 2. So x equals 32 divided by 2, you get 16. So the number is 16. Tickets are on sale for $20. The total amount collected is 520. How many tickets were sold? So 20 times x equals $520. So when you divide that, okay, x equals 26. Okay, 26 what? Okay, read the last few words of the question. 26 tickets. Alice has $50 and decide to save $5 each week. Alright, so initially she has $50 and then $5 each week. So y equal 5x plus 50. Now, how long will it take her to earn $600? So I'm going to replace that 600 for the y, okay, and then solve regularly. Move that 50 over. So 600 minus 50 is 550. And then when you divide that by 5, 550 divided by 5, you get 110. Now, again, my unit, how long? So I'm looking for a time unit. So in this case, it's each week. So 110 weeks. If you don't write the unit, you will lose half a mark on the test. So make sure you include units. So Bob has no saving initially, but saves $8 each week. How much will he have in 1 year? Right? So y equals $8 each week, no initial value, so it's just this. Or you can think of it as plus 0, which is the same thing. How much will he have in 1 year? So I'm not replacing the y with the 1 because the y represents the total amount, just like right here. That's why I sub in $600 for the y. So I'm replacing the x this time. But be very careful right here. I'm not replacing the x with a 1 because that 1 will represent one week. Okay, I want 1 year. So notice the difference in the units. This is weeks, this is year. So since it's $8 for each week, there's 52 weeks in a year. The unit have to match. So 1 year equals 52 weeks. So now my units match. So y equal $416. Right? Don't forget your unit with the dollar sign. Okay. Number 5, James has $50. Each pen's costs $6. How many can he afford? Right? As an inequality. Inequality. So instead of an equal sign, I want the greater or less than symbol. So $6 per pen, and I know that it has to be less than $50. So this is how I can write it, or this is exactly the same as writing it like this. Okay, this means exactly the same thing. Notice the arrow is pointing at the 6p, same thing right here. So the less than symbol is pointing at the 6p. So when I divide it by 6, I get 8.3 dot 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 dot. Now, can I have 8.3 of a pen? If I break a pen, it's not going to work. Okay, so in this case, I would have to round my answer to the nearest whole number. So in this case, he can afford a maximum of 8 pens. Okay, and that's why we use an inequality in this type of question. Okay, solve and graph. So this one right here, I have variables on both sides. I have letters on both sides. So letters to the left, numbers to the right. Whenever I move something, remember I have to change the sign. So 2x when I move it over is minus 2x, and then the 2 when I move it over is minus 2. Okay. Negative 6x minus 2x is negative 8x. Negative 10 minus 2 is negative 12. Okay? And then my last step right here is to divide by -8, right? But whenever we multiply or divide by a negative number, okay, that's the key, is by a negative number, the direction of the sign changes. So instead of less than, it's now a greater than symbol, right? Because I multiply or divide by a negative number. Right here, -12 divided by -8, you'll get positive 1.5. So my answer, x is greater than 1.5. When I draw my number line, I just have to put in 0 and 1.5. I don't need the others, okay? Since it's only greater than and not greater or equal to, it's a hollow circle, open circle, and greater means I point it to the right. Okay. Now, will I get full marks for this question? Okay. You will actually not, because your answer here, x is greater than 1.5. Were there decimal up here? Were there decimal in the question? No. So what format does your answer have to be in? It would have to be in fraction form. So your answer to get full marks for this question is x is greater than 3/2. Okay. You can only use decimal in your answer if the original question had decimals. Otherwise, it's fraction form. Okay. Okay, and then for the last question right here, solve for y in 5x minus 2y equals 7. So I want y by itself. So remember the last lesson that we had last week or on Monday is that we want to solve for y, but there's a x and y. So your final answer, you're not going to get a number answer because we don't know what x is. So all we're doing is we're rearranging the equation. So when you move that 5x over to the other side, it becomes negative 5x. Okay? Doesn't matter if you put 7 minus 5x or negative 5x plus 7, it's the same thing. Okay, so you can put it behind or put it in front as long as you're changing the sign of the 5x and not the 7. And then last step is just like how we would normally do it, is divide by -2. Make sure you're dividing everything by -2. You're dividing the whole right side. So your final answer is y equals -5x plus 7 over -2. Now I know that some teachers, they don't like it when you have a negative sign in the denominator. So you could rewrite this as y equals positive 5x minus 7 over positive 2. So notice I changed the sign of everything. All right, you could do that. Either one, I'm okay with. And that's your answer. You solve for y. So y equal. You got a y equal answer. Um, and you're not going to get a number value like 1.5 or 3/2 right here like this because we don't know the value of x. If I said that's the second part of the question, evaluate when x equals 3, for example, then you can get an answer. Otherwise, you're just rearranging and that's your answer. Okay, so these are the type of word problems you'll see on the test. Remember, your homework was also page 21, 22, and 23. Those were the 3 review pages. We started on the 21 and 22 yesterday. So for tonight, go over these word problems again, see if there's anything you don't understand, and also finish up with the page 23 of the review.